Hello and welcome to In Case You Missed It on SportsMax and Scene TV. Now with the CARIFTA Aquatics Championships and CARIFTA Track and Field Games set to take place over the Easter weekend, that's April 19 to the 21st, the sports company of Trinidad and Tobago, SporTT, has been working tirelessly behind the scenes to finalize maintenance and upgrades at the two key venues. That's the National Aquatic Centre in Balmain, Couva, and the Hasely Crawford Stadium at Mucurapo. Well, here to chat with us today and give us an update on how CARIFTA preparations are coming along in sweet Trinidad and Tobago, we have Head Partnerships and Alliances at SporTT, Kairon Serrette. Kairon, so good to finally chat with you. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you? Happy to be here.
I'm good. I mean, I'd love to be in Trinidad as well, but I'll take it for now. We'll have the discussion and then we see what happens.
Well, I hope you'll be here for Easter weekend.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be a good time. So, for our viewers that are watching and they may not be so familiar with you, can you tell us a bit about your role at SporTT as well as your experience?
Okay, sure, no problem. So my title is Head Partnerships and Alliances, which covers a range of roles and tasks. It can go from anything from commercial partners, developmental partners, working with the national governing bodies of sport, when they have different projects that they need to do with either their confederations or international federations. So for instance, my department would have been instrumental in working alongside the Trinidad and Tobago Cycling Federation, for instance, in us getting the cycling center certified as a UCI World Cycling Center satellite. So those sorts of exciting projects that allows us to interact both regionally, internationally. I'm fortunate enough to say I've been a part of that and continue to. And then in what we're here to discuss in terms of the CARIFTA Games, they're heavily involved in a lot of the major sport event management that takes place in Trinidad and Tobago. Usually what happens is a local organizing committee is constituted with representatives from the states, because the states is often heavily involved in terms of bringing resources to these types of events. We work alongside the sports, and I say depending, sometimes the international federations or confederations. So most recent past would have been the ICC Men's Cricket World Cup in 2024. So we would have worked with the TTCB, CWI, ICC. 2023, we would have worked closely with the TTCGA or the TTOC, along with the Commonwealth Games Federation to execute the Commonwealth Youth Games. And then if I go back, there's like Pan Am Championships and so on. So Sport Company has been involved in a lot of the major sport event management. We have what I would consider the good fortune of being able to work across whole of government. So a lot of different agencies from Ministry of Health, Customs, Immigration, Transport, Airport Authority, all of the different agencies that would, that you may not think of right away.
Wow.
But a chance to interact with them. So that's just a little bit of what we do, at least in terms of my department and in Sport Company, just generally as it relates to the execution of the major sport events.
Kairon, what I'm thinking while you're describing all of that is that you have the cool job and you get to do all these exciting things. And as a lover of sport, it must be enjoyable for you. Now, when we think about the upcoming CARIFTA Games, I mean, let's just start from the age groups of the athletes competing. Can you tell us a bit about that and the different categories of competition?
Okay, sure, no problem. So it's for the athletics. So there's, as you mentioned earlier, the athletics and the aquatics.
Yeah.
I'll start with the aquatics. The aquatics, the age group starts a lot younger. So they start as young as there's a 11 to 12 age group. So 11 to 12, 13 to 14, 15 to 17, boys and girls. And then for the athletics, it's essentially under 18. So they could be as young as 14 and then 14 to 17 and then under 20.
Okay. And can you now give us an update? Because this is what everybody wants to know, right? What's the update on the work taking place at the Hasely Crawford Stadium? Do you think everything will be ready in time for the Easter weekend? Because Kairon, when things are banking on, work to be done, everybody is all over the place. They want to hear that we'll be okay.
Yeah, no, I will say that work is moving along steadily. It's progressing nicely. The contractors have been working, diligently over the last couple of weeks. The work is progressing. All the equipment is here. All the materials are here. They've been, constantly revising the schedule in terms of what needs to happen if there's a need to bring more resources and so on, just to ensure that we make the deadline. So I would say that everything is moving along smoothly, and with the focus of ensuring that we have our track ready for the games.
Yeah, and what about the National Aquatic Centre in Balmain, Couva? How are preparations with regards to that venue now?
Yeah, well, the Aquatic Centre is okay. We would have hosted the Commonwealth Youth Games. In terms of preparation for this, there's some minor changes. I know the team down there has been working in replacing starting blocks, is getting some newer blocks and so on. Some more at this stage, just some cosmetic work is taking place. The association would have met with the facility team at Sport recently, just going through more or less a snag list of things that they may have expressed some concern with. But generally, people are happy from a technical standpoint. And as I said, once we take those, just make those minor changes, more aesthetically, we should be good to go. To the execution.
You're coming across so calm and cool, but I know very well that, there must have been hurdles, Kairon, to get to this point and to get everything ready. And for all I know, you're probably still facing hurdles day after day, because staging an event of this magnitude is not an easy task. And I mean, it's two at the same time. It's not like, you can focus on one venue. You have two things happening at the same time. Can you tell us a bit about those hurdles and maybe how you've been able to overcome them?
Well, I mean, so I appreciate you saying that I appear calm, and I think I'm doing a good job. But really and truly, I think we've had a lot of experience with these sorts of events. So we know things are not going to run perfectly. Try as you may in terms of the planning, things don't run, as smoothly as you would like all the time, despite your best intentions. But at the end of the day, it's just your approach to solving problems and how you deal with things. I could think of, just last week, a problem came up with regards to getting clearance for a matter. And, it involved just thinking, okay, who is responsible for this, or what agency is responsible for this? And asking a question, being fortunate in terms of people answering their phones, and then, being able to solve the problem. So we're able to surmount that issue, and then things were able to move along. So at the end of the day, it's just the approach. You're going to encounter challenges, and it's how you deal with it. And I think, generally we've been doing a good job of, solving the problems as they arise. What I'll also say quickly, though, is I mentioned earlier the good fortune of working with, a lot of these people in sport, and you find that a lot of the characters you encounter really are geared towards it being successful. So whatever, again, you encounter, people are like, okay, how can we get this done? How can we get this fixed? So hurdles will be there. They're always there. We will encounter more, I'm sure. But again, we have a good group of people behind it who is, focused on making sure that Trinidad and Tobago is represented well, and we have two excellent events.
Yeah, and I always find in sport, one of the biggest hurdles is money. And I'm just going to say it plain out. You can never have enough money when you want to do something good. And I read an article, it was in the Trinidad Express, right? And the CEO of SporTT, Jason Williams, he was cited, saying very, very frank that, maintenance costs for these facilities are significant. And, he said, and I'll quote him, each facility is unique. But if we're doing proper preventative maintenance, including security, janitorial services, and utilities, you're looking at upwards of $500,000 per month for the National Aquatic Centre. And, he kept on to explaining that, you all are planning to implement a computerized maintenance management system. And I found that so cool, because he was saying, it will enhance the efficiency. And, because I'm so curious, because based on what I got from this is that this maintenance program would be in a particular way, and you could correct me if I'm wrong in any way, where it will alert you if something is needed to fix or anything like that, as opposed to you just fixing the whole stadium because you feel like this year, I just want to give the stadium a new look. Is this what it is, and how cool is this?
Yeah, so just based on how you describe it, yes, it is meant to put a little more order to how you maintain the facilities. And so, sport company, as you'd probably realize, we manage and maintain all the largest sporting entities, so sporting facilities in Trinidad and Tobago, with the exception of the Mariah Cricket Academy and the Oval, right? Most, if not all, of the facilities are under our purview. The computerized maintenance management system, once brought on board, is going to allow us to really look at all of the facilities, allow us to put a plan in place for more preventative maintenance versus reactive maintenance. And once you're able to do that, it is going to help, you mentioned earlier, it's going to help in your efficiency, even your purchasing for consumables and so on, light bulbs and that sort of thing. It's going to help you understand, okay, based on your cycle of this asset, you're going to have to do some level of maintenance in 3 months or 6 months. So it's really going to assist you in planning across all your facilities. It's going to help with your, in addition to your overall planning, your resource planning, if you're going to need an additional specialist or something here for HVAC and so on. So it's an exciting time when we're able to implement it, and talking to the facilities team. I'm not part of the facilities team, but I understand what the technology and what the idea is. Once it is brought on stream, it's going to make the work a lot more scientific and a lot more ordered. We are doing the best that we can under these circumstances. The team is doing a good job, but this is now going to really put us in a better place in terms of managing all of the physical plan around our purview.
Yeah, and save a lot of money as opposed to, buying light bulbs when you don't need them.
So, save a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, and Kairon, when we think about facilities being upgraded, the first question that comes to mind, because I always say the athletes are at the center of my questions. They're the ones I really, really care about because they bring the pride and the joy to the country when they do well. So what has been happening to the athletes that need to train? Have they been accommodated elsewhere? What's going on with them?
So so I'll start with the Aquatic Centre. We did have a bit of downtime just after Carnival where we did some cleaning and so on. But the facility is back up and the national team has been training. We have extended the hours as well. So I want to say as late as 8 o'clock at the Aquatic Centre. We'll go to as late as 8 o'clock and even start a little bit earlier in the morning. So in terms of the Aquatic Centre, the fraternity is happy. They've been getting access and the national team has been training, and from what I understand, the training has been going along well and the team is preparing. Naturally with the Hasely Crawford Stadium, because the track is being redone, that fraternity does not have access to the track, but the training field, they've been utilizing the training field just on the weekend. Entry would have hosted one of their meets where they would have held the field events on the training field. They would have done different orientations of the field and so on. And again, from all accounts, it was successful. Some things still work out, but I think generally they were able to get things done. We have other facilities that some of the clubs would use, and then it's also now opportunity for the clubs that may have been using the track at this time, they would now train on grass. Okay. On that note, as you mentioned, I think it's important to give Keyshawn Walcott and his team, kudos, because they came up with an idea called the Golden League.
Yeah.
Golden League designate, right. So they have gone to different communities and had races on the grass. And I was chatting with one of the guys who was part of the operations team, and he was saying, initially there was some apprehension, but coming down to the end, they had full subscription. I think generally everyone enjoyed it. So it's now, fingers crossed, going to become part of the calendar for the track and field moving forward. And I think that augurs well just generally in terms of development. And then, in the event that there's other, we have to be a little more agile with regards to access to facilities. People are not going to feel shortchanged and so on. So things are happening. It's not that things have just come ground to a halt. The athletes are competing, they're training and working towards Easter weekend.
Yeah, good to hear things are happening. And you know what I want to happen? I want Trinidad and Tobago to finish higher in the medal standings. So that's why I asked that last question, right? I had that in the back of my mind. Trinidad finished third in the medal standings at the 2024 CARIFTA Games, and that was in Grenada. I think we had 27 medals, right? So the country now, and I personally will be hoping that we can raise that tally. Is that possible, Kairon?
Yeah, This is not an exact science. So wearing my patriotic hat, I think we will do better. We do have a very nice crop of athletes coming that have been, more or less graduating from last year. So athletes who would have been in their first year under 17, going to be in their second year under 17. So we expect them to do well. Some of the same thing with the under 20 athletes who in their first year under 20 and now, would have had that experience. So generally, fingers crossed, some athletes will have little niggles and injuries. So and know the coaches and the fraternity, they're monitoring that. But generally, there's an expectation that we will do better. And, fingers crossed. And once the crowds come out, so I'll take this opportunity to make a plug for the crowds to come out and inspire the youth, inspire the team, and help spur them on to those record-breaking performances so that we could be high in the medal table.
Yeah, and this last one before we take a break, which country do you think will be Trinidad and Tobago's biggest opponent this CARIFTA Games?
I mean, if we have to be honest, Jamaica is the perennial. If we look at, both the track and field, so there's the track and field and the aquatics. On the track and field side, Jamaica is perennial, powerhouse. So my hope is that we compete more with them across different events. And if you look at the tally with Jamaica, they do well in multiple events. So they'll get their gold medals, yes, but even in the field events. So again, I know we have some good entries right across the board. So I'm hoping that we're able to compete closer to them across the different events. In the aquatics, Bahamas is again annual powerhouses. We have a good team this year, again, chatting with some of the administrators at ASAT, looking at some of the members. We have, this young lady, Zuri Ferguson, who was at the Olympics. She will be back to compete. Liam Carrington is one of our young, up-and-coming stars as well. So you're looking at him. And then there are a couple other younger ones who they expect to do well. Again, the first opportunity to represent Trinidad and Tobago, but we expect them to do well on home too. So generally, I expect better performances, and we'll see if we are on top the medal standards at the end. We'll see.
Let's talk now about some of the athletes to look out for, and I know you already named two. I know the athletics team, they didn't name the team as yet, but any idea, Kairon, when that will happen?
So the trials for the track and field will happen the first weekend in April, so between the 4th to the 6th. So because we hosted it, the fraternity decided to keep it closer to the actual event.
Okay.
So between the 4th, 5th, and 6th will be the days for the track and field trials.
Yeah, and I know you're a man, you follow your sport apart from, the capacity that you hold at SporTT. So any athletes that I should watch out for?
Right. So I'll be careful, but I'll still say I believe the twins will be returning.
Okay.
So, Sole, I think they will be returning as well. Dylan Woodruff, he's been following him on. He's doing his thing out there in Florida with IMG, so he should be back. We have the Chenapu brothers. They should be back, all things considered. Looking at some of the results recently. Shan Lewis doing well in the 8 and the 15. Who else? We have some other young ones coming up, in terms of javelin is a young man. So he's throwing really well, close to 50 already. And this will be, once all things being equal, this will be his first year under 17.
Okay.
Tanan. So we have a couple.
A couple medals there, yeah. All right, and the swimming side now, I know you mentioned these athletes, the foreign-based, Zuri, so they will also strengthen our swimming capacity to pick up medals, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they will be looking at both Liam and Zuri to perform well in their events.
Yeah, and Kairon, when events like this come about, and it goes for any sport, personally, I look for the local talent. I take a close look at the pool of local talent. I noticed you have Arnold Roberts as your head coach, somebody I had the I have to say, the pleasure of working with. In the media capacity, of course, no swimming. He didn't coach me in swimming. But, you know, can you just talk to me a bit about that and, you know, the planning when it comes to ensuring that we're able to spot these young, bright local talents and not let them slip away from us?
Right. So what I say in terms of just, and I'm using the word broadly in terms of the fraternity, and the fraternity makes up the coaches, the clubs, and the administration. I think, you know, that whole, you know, everyone needs to work together to ensure once talent is identified, right? And I'm being very careful not to just use the catch-all talent identification, but once talent is identified, knowing that everyone has a role to ensure that the best talent remains in the sport, and they are given the opportunities to progress through sport. You know, the government has a role as well in terms of providing support, facilitating, you know, financial facilities and otherwise. So once all these stakeholders work together, then, you know, it will ensure that we are in the best place in terms of having our best athletes on shore, having our best teams on shore. So it's you know, not to sound cliche, but it is really a team effort in terms of all the stakeholders involved to ensure that we have, you know, the best athletes staying in the sports and representing us.
Yeah, and I think this is also a beautiful opportunity for Trinidad and Tobago to be marketed for positive things. So let's talk a bit now about the marketing and communication aspect of this 52nd edition of the CARIFTA Games. What's the messaging that you and your team would want to get across to the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago? And do you think, most importantly, that the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are going to jump on board and ensure that these venues that the team has been working so hard behind are filled to capacity?
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked that question. So, you know, even when the team would have met, we would have had these sessions talking to the, you know, representatives from entries, talking to the representatives from ASAT, athletes who would have attended the games, what they felt, the emotions, the fact that, you know, for some, a lot of them, this is their Olympics. And, you know, and part of the messaging that we want to get across is that, you know, come out and really support and celebrate the best that the country has to offer in terms of these two sporting disciplines. And it's you know, people talk about youth and you know, getting them involved and getting them engaged. Well, you know, this is an opportunity to come and see the best that we have to offer, come and see them on show, come and support them, right, while they represent the country, because it is really one of those events. You know, sport, you know, you always talk about sport and its ability to galvanize the country. At a junior level, if it is you, and I know you mentioned me, but I know you also pay attention to your sports, Mariah. Looking at CARIFTA Games in years gone by and looking at the energy and the pride that is exuded by the supporters and so on in the stands. So our aim and our goal is to replicate that in Trinidad, to make sure that everyone comes out, help them to understand that, you know, for a lot of the athletes on show, this is their Olympics. And, you know, we should, as a nation, rally around that and come out and support. So that's part of the messaging, you know, in terms of, you know, just generally the athletic achievement and so on, the excitement, the entertainment. But we're really hoping that the country comes out to support and gives the youth, you know, that support that they need to come and produce.
Yeah, and I think a lot of them are watching this interview and now they've changed their mind. They want to watch the CARIFTA Games. So, Kairon, let them know, where can they buy the tickets for these events? You know, where can they grab those?
So both the entries and the Aquatic Association, they have an online option, and we had a meeting yesterday discussing what opportunities we will have for persons to collect physical tickets. So we are going to finalize that, and then once we do, we're going to put it out on the different channels. For now, it's online.
Okay.
I want to say between, I think, Santix and the ASAT, the Aquatic Association, is doing it through their website. Okay. So, but if there's any change, again, we'll be sure to advise so that, you know, persons could get the physical, because, you know, people like to get their physical tickets as well.
It's now time for my favorite part of today's interview. It's what we call here rapid fire time. So, Kairon, I'll ask you a question and you say the first word or phrase that comes to mind. Are you ready? Okay. Best part about your job?
People that I work with and the fact that I'm doing what I love.
Toughest part about your job?
Things that you can't control at times, but I mean, you just need to push through.
Yeah. Have you played a sport before?
But not with any great distinction. But I ran track a bit. I played cricket and I played football. Never represented the country or anything like that. But I love it. I loved it.
Yeah, understand. One country you would like to visit?
Dubai and India.
That's mine. Those are my bucket list countries. Anyways, favorite food?
My mom's oxtail and bati rice.
Have you had Jamaican oxtail?
I have.
Okay.
I have.
Okay, like it?
Yeah. Anytime I meet anybody from Jamaica, I talk about pan chicken too, because I think it's so simple but delicious.
Yeah. Best part about being a Trini?
I think we're such a unique people. There's so many things. We have our challenges, but just generally, when we come together, I don't think there's anyone else or any culture in the world. Nowhere else I'd rather be right now. So.
Yeah, this one. What comes to mind when you hear CARIFTA?
Excitement, athleticism. From the top junior event in the world, hands down, and performances, history, future stars.
Okay, and your favorite athlete of all time?
That is a tough one.
Any sport? Just like who's the best?
Who's my favorite athlete of all time? Wow, that is a tough one. I mean, from cricket, for a long time, it was just Brian Lara.
Okay.
Track and field, I grew up, watching Atto, and then there's Usain, and then even Richard.
So you have many.
Yeah, I have a lot because I watch a lot of different sports. So I'll find my favorite athletes in each sport.
Yeah, I get that. I totally understand. So let's quickly head across now to social media because I want to see what's trending. What are they saying about the sport at SporTT? Are they saying good things, bad things? I can't wait to see. So my team is getting that ready for us. We have different social media reactions. Yeah, they're ready. Bring it on. So Khalifa Joseph says, I'm back. So our country will be hosting the 52nd CARIFTA Games and our young athletes will really appreciate the support. It's being held between the April 19 and 21st at the Hasely Crawford Stadium. So can the committees come together for this? And, she has that eye emoji. So you're getting people, of course, Kairon, putting the message out and ensuring that the fans are ready.
Yeah, that's good. I'm happy to see that sort of organic support.
Yeah, let's take another one. This one is from the Sports Company of Trinidad and Tobago. And they said, they spoke about this and it really stood out to me. Capacity building workshops leaving an impact. SporTT continues to make a powerful influence on cricket development with the rollout of capacity building cricket workshops for primary school teachers across the country. And this tweet is very important to me personally, Kairon, because I've noticed on the SportsTT page, there are various developmental workshops and you all are very active. You keep posting stuff about it. So can you tell me a bit about this and can we expect more workshops this year?
Well, I mean, so if I'm to speak directly to the cricket, we've put together what you call a community sport department, very recent, of which the cricket unit is one of them, and we've been fortunate to have some really top talent there. The likes of Samuel Badri, Marissa Aguilar, Anissa Mohammed, even Nathan Stewart. Really driving that. And when you have that kind of group of people who really care about cricket development and Trinidad and Tobago, you'll see a lot of great things happening. So they have been really leading the charge from both a developmental standpoint and even doing different workshops. I think that has generally been one of those bright spots. We have quite a few we could talk about, but I know that we've been particularly proud about the work that the cricket department has been doing, and then the whole community sport unit as a whole.
Okay.
And that just in addition to everything else sport has been doing. We work with the athletes. It is the elite athlete unit, our sport development unit and so on. So we've been doing our bit. Some may consider very quietly, but it's something that we put a lot of effort in, focus in terms of just making that positive change.
All right, well, I know you took time out of your busy schedule. I'm pretty sure you probably have to run down to the Hasely Crawford Stadium and then maybe to the Aquatic Centre. But I want to thank you, Kairon, for making the time to chat with us today. And I look forward to hearing from you again as, we continue to monitor and chart the progress of Trinidad and Tobago when it comes to their athletes and their development. So thank you.
And thank you, Mariah, and your SportsMax team. I think this sort of interaction is important, and whenever you want to catch up, sure. We appreciate you all working together with us and getting the message out there, and we're looking forward to doing this again.
All right, well, folks, that's a wrap for today's episode on In Case You Missed It. Be sure to like, share, and comment, and let me know which country you're from and how much you're looking forward to CARIFTA 2025. Goodbye for now.